Everything sucks, and I need to watch something so brainless. I'm not gonna lie, the only reason that I finally got off my ass to watch this movie is because of that TikTok dance. And I don't mind if the world spins faster than music. I don't mind if the world spins. It only took like a couple months. I finally broke down. You got me. So at the beginning of the movie, like the main character Branch used to be in a boy band with his brothers when he was like a little baby, but they couldn't get like the perfect bro harmony, and one of his brothers was like a real about it because he was like, we have to be perfect, and everyone else was like, can we just like enjoy like being a family and like singing together? And he was like, no, if we're not perfect, then we're nothing. And honestly, he should have met me in high school because like same. But the plot is about how one of the brothers, aka Troye Sivan, got kidnapped by these slays. Bruh, Velvet and Veneer. Best parts of the film. Delicious. They slayed, they ate, they served. So other than Floyd, aka Troye Sivan, delicious, yum yum, love you, man. Would I add it to my list of fictional crushes? I can't. Guys, he's a troll. He's a troll. That would be embarrassing. So all the brothers have different personas before they like broke up. One of them is Clay, aka the fun one, who now is like super serious. He's a troll. He's a singing and dancing troll, keep in mind you. But he's like super serious, and like now he's like an accountant and he does taxes, which, can you please teach me? Didn't cover that in college or high school. The next one is Bruce, who was the heartthrob of the group, who is now a family man. And let me just say, he is married to this like giant puppet lady. And in the movie, they're like, how does that even work? Like, he's very much troll size, and the puppet lady is my size. And they have children together. But you know, love is love, right? Then there's John Dory, the leader, who is just bossy. And so obviously this movie and their group in particular is like paying homage to all the boy bands of like the past, which I don't really have any boy bands now. That's the important question. To be honest, I was never really into boy bands when I was younger. I obviously knew of One Direction, but I only really knew of like Harry Styles. My boy bands of the day were Big Time Rush, and also several times from like one Gravity Falls episode, which honestly, if you watch that episode, the plot isn't too different from Trolls Band Together. Might I say they did it first? But who did it better? I fear the most important part of this movie was Velvet and Veneer, sibling duo. Oh my god. They ate down. Character design, 8. Beautiful. People have compared them to like Jesse and James, the Pokemon sibling duo, because oh my god, they're just so iconic. They were born to be icons. Velvet is basically a narcissistic girl boss. I support women's rights and wrongs. Was it wrong that she kidnapped Floyd in order to like suck him of his talent so that she could slay as a woman and be super talented and eat down to the boots, performing all over the world to achieve her dreams? She had dreams to escape suburbia and make a name for herself, okay? Was it wrong for her to drain Troye Sivan of his life force so that she herself could become successful? Some would say yes. Some would say it is. But does she serve while doing it? Yes. She does. She literally has all the best lines. Like Veneer was talking about how they grew up in suburbia and weren't like begging for spare change. Like she so bravely said they were. And she was like, when I first met you, you were a drooling nobody that was like literally crapping all over the place and being disgusting. And he was like, you met me when I was a baby. But Veneer basically worships her because, you know, like sibling love. She has to be the older sibling because like the way that he literally listens to everything that she says and idolizes her. And there was a part where they're both being interviewed and the guy was like, who are your musical inspirations? And he was like, well, Velvet is, of course. She's an icon. She's an inspiration. So true, buddy. And then she was like, obviously myself. Girl boss. And so Veneer isn't as power hungry as Velvet so deservedly is. And he actually has some common human decency, which Floyd constantly appeals to. And there's one part where Floyd like turned to him and was like, dude, you're better than this. And he was like, oh my god, thank you. You're so right, I am better than this. Anyway, so the plot is basically where like Poppy and Branch are going to find all of Branch's brothers who are all living their separate lives because they have to like band together to save Floyd. Velvet and Veneer, icons, are trapping Floyd in like a diamond encrusted cage, which can only be broken by like the perfect sibling harmony. However, of course, that perfect sibling harmony is what broke up the brothers in the first place. They have to do it. They have to at least try to save Troye Sivan. But none of the brothers are taking Branch seriously because the last time they saw him, he was like, I don't know, 12, 8, some childlike number. He gets pissed because they're all mad at the leader guy for not really taking them seriously and for controlling him. And then he's like, dude, you're doing literally the exact same thing to me. So he has to go on and be who he is. He just doesn't belong there. He hopes you understand. And then of course Poppy goes after him and he's like, why are you here? You need to just leave me like everyone else. And she's like, better than me, because I will leave. Leave me like everyone else. Yes, indeed. Amen. But no, she's like, hey, we're in this together. I'm here for you. It's you and me until the end. And he's like, great. And so Poppy, Branch, and this tiny baby guy go to save his brother Floyd. But then they find out that Velvet and Veneer, icons, lovely, Slade as always, they kidnapped all of the brothers. Yeah. And they put them in like these little suits so that they can like drain their life essence so that they could sing better. You gotta do what you gotta do, honestly. And so Velvet and Veneer are doing their whole little performance on the run because Branch and Poppy and everyone are chasing after them in order to like save Branch's brothers, whatever. And they gave a beautiful, amazing rendition of Fame. I want to live forever. And so Branch gets his brother's little cages out from like the outfits and like onto the ground. And they do the We Do It Better song. And they like hit the perfect sibling harmony and everyone gets released. And we're like, oh my God, is Troye Sivan going to die? He doesn't, because, you know, happy endings. And when all the trolls are free, Veneer like grabs the mic and he's like, hey everyone watching, we are phonies, we're fakes. And Velvet is like, which honestly was my face too. Like, can you not just be defeated quietly? This is just so embarrassing. But, you know, I guess that shows his morality and his character growth or whatever. That's why he's my favorite sibling. It was a surprisingly well-written and engaging story. And it had a really good message about family and like being there for each other and not letting someone walk over you, even if you love them. Which was like the plot line of Velvet and Veneer, with like Velvet walking all over Veneer in order to get what she wanted. Slay, slay, slay. I'm kidding. And that ended up being like the final thing to make him reveal that everything they were doing was fraud and they were indeed stealing Troll's life forces in order to serve. And should they apologize for that? Yeah, but like, also you're welcome for serving. Obviously it made me tear up a little bit. Okay, because they had like some really heartwarming moments. There's like this one part where Branch found Floyd and Floyd recognized like how much he's grown up, which was the first time any of his brothers did that because they all saw him as a baby still. And it was just like so sweet. And, you know, it was like full circle from the beginning of the movie with like the prelude where they showed Floyd and Branch's bond, blah, 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 whatever, sappy, sap, sap, sap. And can we talk about these jokes? The things that they slip into kids' movies, my guy. There was this one part where these two Bergens got married and they got like chained up by trolls who thought that they were going to eat them or whatever. One of the Bergens, Bridget, was like, oh my God, you know, I didn't think that we were both going to end up tied up on this honeymoon. Okay. There was another part where like the baby Tiny Diamond was like, you know, I got my driver's license. I'm grown up too. And then Poppy was like, where did you get that license? And he was like, it depends. Are you a narc? That got me. That did get me. The crazy thing is, a month ago, people from my college got to see this movie for free, but I was like, I'm not going to see singing and dancing trolls. I just can't. Literally, when I asked them how it was, they were like, it was surprisingly good. Did not expect that. And so the next movie I want to talk about is Leo, which is on Netflix actually. And unfortunately, TikTok did get me again with this one. It was the opening sequence of the turtle and the lizard just like roasting the kids in the class. But imagine my surprise and anger when all I wanted to do was make a meal. I just wanted to make a meal and eat something while watching a brainless movie. Here's something that looks stupid: a talking lizard. People don't want you to just sit and think about nothing anymore. They want you to have feelings now. And I'm very sick. This is very twisted. So basically Leo is about a class lizard played by Adam Sandler and this turtle that are like the class pets for this elementary school. And the teacher is replaced by a substitute because she gets pregnant. Love that for her. And the substitute is like, you guys need to learn about discipline. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these class pets home and you're going to take care of them. And I'm so glad that I never experienced that because I can barely take care of myself. Especially at age 12. Those pets would not make it to see the new week. Like, imagine the trauma of having a pet die on you. And then you're supposed to bring it back to school and everyone's gonna hate you because what the happened to our class pet, dude? And so the stakes are high for Leo because he thinks he's reaching the end of his lifespan and he wants to make an impact of the world. He wants to do something different. And at first he thinks that in order to do that, he has to like run away and go to like the great wild and enjoy outdoors, which again, very sick and twisted thing to do to a kid that's supposed to be taking care of you. Anyway, but he ends up finding his purpose by like giving advice to like the children who keep finding out that he can talk accidentally. And so the first girl is this girl Summer who cannot shut up, and he's like, maybe you should try listening to people every once in a while. If like, I mean, I'm just saying because you feel like everyone hates you. Like maybe just try like listening to what other people have to say. And she's like, oh my God, you're so right. But like, why can you talk? And he's like, honestly, you're just special. You're different. You're not like other girls, which that would work. Especially like among Gen Z that grew up with like every type of media telling us that we were different and special. You might've got me there. And then he talked to Mia, and this got me. This is what got me crying in the club. Or crying in my kitchen while I was making spaghetti. Oh my God. She had a hard time opening up to other people because her best friend used to be her grandfather, who she used to like open up to, and he would listen to her, and now he's gone. Talking to Leo was the first time that she really opened up in such a long time, and I was like, oh my God, why is this Netflix lizard movie making me cry right now? This is not okay. But you know, we can't just be happy in a movie the whole time because Squirtle tells on him, and he basically reveals to all the kids that he can talk to all of them. And so I guess he's kind of been cheating on them. I don't know. And they're super mad at him, even though like, duh, obviously he didn't want to tell you guys that he could talk to everyone in case that he got dissected and sent to the government or something, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, they're all pissed, and Miss Malcolm, the substitute teacher, overhears that he can talk, and so she takes him, and she's like, what have you been doing to my children? Why are they so good at the subjects now? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, dude, chill. Also, maybe you shouldn't be so hard on them. Maybe you should like be trying to make actual human connections to them. And she's like, I just want to be happy, man. And he goes, well, maybe you can if you actually try at your job and, you know, make connections with these children. And that makes her decide to like turn around a new leaf, and she's trying to be more engaged. And they have like this class presentation where all the parents and like the school officials are like, oh my God, Miss Malcolm, what have you been doing to this class? Like, they're kind of eating right now. She gets all nervous because, you know, a lizard turned the class around. A lizard. Imagine a lizard steals your job. I'd be pissed too. And Leo is like, hey, I want to say hi to the kids, congratulate them. And she's like, well, you can't congratulate them on because they lost. They lost because of you, and they're all like super mad, which was a lie because they did win. She dumps him off in the forest because she's like, that's your dream, isn't it? To like live in the forest? Bye. And obviously when she returns, all the kids are like, hey, where's Leo? We realized that we were mad at him for no reason, and we want to thank him for everything. And she's like, yeah, he's in the forest, man. He's in the forest. I don't know what to tell you. But she ends up having a change of heart and like going back to save him because she realizes that like the false recognition isn't going to make her happy, but, you know, actually being there for the kids is. So they save Leo, and Miss Malcolm ends up getting like a permanent position, and it's all good. Why was this movie so good? Like the messages of self-awareness and opening up, and how sometimes you need a listening ear, and that's okay. Why? This had no reason to make me cry multiple times. I was actually quite sick. And I know what you're gonna say. Obviously, there are like kids movies that we know are super deep. This isn't a new concept. You know, there's Finding Nemo, there's Tangled, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time. But I feel like it's like just the way that both of these movies were like advertised. First of all, trolls. You expect me to know that a movie about singing and dancing trolls is going to like have some deep message? No. But it did. They ate with that. Again, Velvet Veneer. I really wish that they had more screen time, but it's fine. And then with like the Leo movie, I feel like I underestimated it. First of all, I guess I just like haven't realized how far Netflix original movies have come. Netflix original movies, weirdly enough, a lot of times are just as good as like blockbuster films that you would see in a movie theater. I just wouldn't expect that from an animated Netflix movie. But you know, they shocked me. Anyway, I'm just mad because here I am going to the movie theater, putting on Netflix so I can watch a brainless movie, and now I'm being taught lessons. Now I'm crying. Hello? That is not what I paid my $10.99 for. So if anyone has actual brainless recommendations, please let me know. Or like good recommendations too, whatever, expand my mind, I guess. But yeah, Leo was actually such a good movie. It was such a good movie. I really recommend it. And Trolls 8, especially Velvet Veneer. Sorry to say it. Anyway, bye.